Hello and welcome to this new episode of El Show de Alex.tv. And as you can see, I have a guest. I have my great friend Angelito from the channel De Tocho Morocho. Thanks for being here, Angelito.
Hello, how's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending on the time you're watching. A greeting to all your lovely people, and I'm very happy to be here again.
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, I don't do it, and I should greet a lot of people in South America. I was looking at the analytics, and we have people watching from Ecuador. We have people watching from, well, it's not South America, Central America, Honduras, El Salvador. I'm very glad that it's expanding a bit. I think this also has to do with some collaborations I've been doing with Victoria and Nuria Crespo from Spain. So it's probably their audience. And thank you all so much. Really, I always say, as long as one person watches, well, even if zero people watch, but hey, as long as one person watches, it's an honor. And thank you so much for your time because you could be doing other things. We agree on that.
The most important thing a human being has is their time, Alex. So imagine them giving us a little bit of their time. And also a hug to all the people. Well, we're all brothers. Sometimes I see in the chats of different shows or videos how they start to argue, right? Because no, my country is better. Well, no, yours is better. No, Mexico is better. I mean, what nonsense. We all already have enough problems sometimes with the racism that's directed at us, right? That offends us, that hurts us. For us to be among ourselves, Latin Americans who speak Spanish, whose many of our customs and traditions are similar, it's even more absurd, Alex, for us to be fighting, getting angry, arguing. Each and every country has its charm, its beautiful side, and we are all brothers. And all of us on this planet, besides being brothers for living on the same planet, right? But speaking Spanish, well, that unites us even more, right? So a hug to all the people.
Totally agree. Like you said, we are all brothers from the whole planet, but even more so, or at least among Latin Americans, of course, we're brothers. And honestly, I'm also very happy when on your channel or on other similar ones, I see people connecting from Argentina, from Peru, from Guatemala, etc. So it gives me a lot of joy, that even from places outside of Mexico, they watch us. So thank you very much to everyone. And I hope you like this show. First of all, I want to welcome you back to YouTube, Angelito. You recently came back with your streams
Thanks.
in a revamped format that I think is perfect. I mean, that you find that balance and that it's perfect for you because in the end, I feel that's what we have to do. I also, I don't know if I think I did tell you or you noticed that I also made a small adjustment. I made an announcement that with my two channels, El Dial de Alex and El Show de Alex, 2 episodes per week, I just couldn't do it anymore. And I changed it to a very simple format where Fridays are my short clips. And on Mondays, if there's an interview, the show goes up. And if not, well, it doesn't. And the truth is, I mean, some people got scared that I was shutting down. No, I'm not shutting down. I'm adjusting to what works for me. And it has given me a peace of mind, Angelito, that you'll get to now that you're going to be doing one show a week and then maybe increase it to two, but only when you feel like it. You'll see that peace of mind. In a way, it's much better to have that one show than the five you used to have. I'm not saying it was bad before, but five forced shows or five, in a way, this is much better.
And before that, I had 7 a week, Alex.
Yes, you had one day off, right?
I did, but on that day off, I joined other YouTuber friends. So in the end, I didn't rest at all. I'm very calm. I hope you can tell and that it shows. I'm very calm and I would tell you, Alex, and I would tell the audience that there are two types of people on social media, on YouTube. And they are the ones who have that dream and that ambition and that desire to be a YouTuber. And being a YouTuber will end up consuming you, right? It will consume the real life Alex or the real life Angel. But well, these people will do it because it's their dream, and there are people who don't care what they have to give up to achieve their dream, their goal. And then there are the others, like, well, as I said, that day on my show, sorry, my chubby ones are here fighting. um well, I don't consider myself a YouTuber, Alex, to begin with. I studied acting. It was a full-fledged career, 3 years, where I got my degree and everything. And I've spoken to the camera before, I've acted. I've hosted events. So what I enjoy is sitting down and knowing there's an audience out there and interacting with them. And I love to interview, but I was definitely losing myself by being on YouTube every single day, talking a lot of the time, Alex, about topics that don't interest me, like Imelda's lawsuit or the problem with Maribel Guardia or Mr. Doctor or Marifer or and so sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry, the
No, the scolding wasn't on air. That's good.
those who have pets, they know. And
I know, you know.
well, so topics that I would say, Alex, well, they don't give me anything as a person, but unfortunately,
Do you want us to take a break, Angelito? We're going to take a break. All right, we're back. Angelito had to scold his cats, but that's how it goes.
the since I'm a male Karen, and they just started fighting like roosters, my cats. Well, so I was saying that many of the topics I had to cover because in the end, sometimes as content creators, we're put between a rock and a hard place, sometimes by ourselves or by the audience, Alex, because you might want to touch on certain topics you like, but when the time comes, you don't get the response you expect. Then there are no views, no money. Hey, Esther. So, well, at the end of the day, you're dedicating so much time to YouTube that you say, well, I would like to make money, right? Well, let there be views. What's happening? Well, then I have to address these topics that I don't love, but that give you the views so that you can get monetization at the end of the month so that YouTube pays you. Then it is difficult. I was discussing it with one of my YouTube friends at the beginning of the week. He said, tomorrow is Monday, but with a certain, come on, with a certain regret. And he makes videos and he makes videos even on Sundays happy. And he told me, you know what, Angel? You make videos to please the public and I make videos to please myself. Obviously, I didn't answer him, but I thought, well, yes, but the views I have are better than the ones you have. And surely if I did what you're doing, I'd have the same views as you. And he's really great. He's really great. And I like what he does, but sometimes what we like isn't liked by most of the public, Alex. How truly great, how fortunate and lucky you are that what you choose to play here is genuinely liked and appreciated by your audience. But you, who have visited me several times on the channel, have probably realized that my audience doesn't always respond in an excellent or enthusiastic way to this type of topic. I have an audience that is much more into entertainment, lighthearted fun, gossip, and especially celebrity gossip. So I was definitely feeling a bit annoyed, maybe even a little tired of talking about all these topics. Like I was saying, wow, what a waste of my own time. But hey, on the other hand, I enjoy being with people, don't I? Being with the community and having them see me, having them give me their time, having them talk to me. So yes, that's why he kept doing it, right? Until I felt, Alex, that I was already kind of losing myself a little bit. I no longer had time. I didn't even go to the gym anymore. I didn't have time for the few friends I have to go for a coffee, go to the movies. And so I took a break because, as I've always told my people, I'm here and I make videos because I like it, first and foremost. Whether there's money, donations, or not, that comes later. But the main reason is because I like it. And if at some point you ever find that you stop enjoying or liking it, Alex, then you really have to pause and question whether what you're doing is truly right, or if you can perhaps change it, or if you can reach a middle ground or compromise that pleases the public, but also you're satisfied, aren't you? And that's what I did for almost 2 months. And I feel very calm right now. I feel very calm and already doing a program that I'm going to be doing at least a month a week. Well, I do it with a lot of enthusiasm, Alex, because there are 1,000 ideas for just one program. It's very different from doing five, where sometimes I didn't even know I'd be looking for guests on the rocks. So this gives me a lot of peace of mind making videos like this, for now.
Yes, what you're saying is very important. I think, I mean, I'll speak from my personal experience. I'm not any kind of expert or anything like that. I honestly don't define myself. It's not like I'm a YouTuber or not a YouTuber. I've simply told my story. I was invited to a channel. I spoke and I was surprised by how I felt, how calm I was. Yes, I was nervous, but well, I felt I had a message to share. They invited me back the following week, which was very rare for that channel, but they liked it. It was like it was left open for a second part. That's how they felt. And after that one, I needed more. Look, me. It wasn't about views. No, it was that I needed to keep expressing myself. So, in a way, you're absolutely right that I think I've had that luck that, with the exception of a few topics that did go viral or something like that, which I kind of sneakily put in, right? Saying, let's see if this one takes off because people are talking about it. For example, I don't know if you remember about 2 years ago, there was a balloon that the United States put up that was spying.
A white balloon there.
Well, I did a show with my opinion and I added my own little twist and everything. But most of them, in fact, I think people probably don't know that for most of my shows, I prepare an inventory. Since I'm not live, I record. And sometimes a show, right now I have an inventory almost until August. So imagine a show for July was made in early May or late April. So that issue of covering viral stories, well, that's where it gets complicated. The truth is, I watched you on Friday.
Thanks.
I watched the full 2.5 hours or 2 hours and 20 something minutes. And honestly, it's not that you were bad before. I want to make that clear. But I saw a much more, I want to call it mature, centered Angelito in the sense that you're more sure of what you want. And it's not that I was against the celebrity topics, the lawsuit. I was telling you, Angelito, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say because I don't even know who you're talking about. That one time you mentioned the guy, a photographer. I don't know who you're talking about. I'm just finding out.
Thanks.
A paparazzi, I'm just finding out, because I honestly don't follow those topics. Yes, I do feel that right now your episodes, your shows are going to be very, very different in the sense that it's going to be, like you said, a show about something you want to do and your audience will watch you. I mean, when you got 10,000 views, I feel that a percentage was your audience, but another percentage was people who saw you for the first time, maybe for the last time, and they came for the topic, not for Angelito, right?
Right? The main topic is really what draws them in.
Exactly. It wasn't for Angelito, nor was it for the guests, male or female. Many of those videos were with Themis, with Vicky. I don't feel it was because of that, but rather the topic is what attracted them, which is good because, as you once mentioned to me in private, those topics bring in new people. So there are people who say, "Hey, I came for the video about the lawsuit and all that, but now I see you have a video about tarot, or I see a video of the what's it called, the karaoke, and I saw you."
And I can touch on them. Maybe next Friday we'll talk about Hector Para again, who I don't think you know. No. But well, for you guys, which has to do with entertainment, but it's not the same to prepare to talk about that topic just once. I can do that gladly, Alex, as it is to do it every day. To be talking about Hector Para today and tomorrow about Maribel Guardia and the day after about this Mr. Doctor and the next one about Las Perdidas and the next. That's what made me feel unsatisfied, Alex. Not feeling happy, not feeling yes, that's the word, satisfied. So, yes, I can do it, and I can do it gladly once, maybe once a week, because I know that the following Friday I won't be touching on that topic. Instead, I'll be talking about something else and I'll be, mixing it up. So then I could do the karaoke with the YouTubers. I could do another one on tarot. I could do another one on movies. And I could do another one on some topic that's trending, even if I don't love the topic. But doing it every day for me was boring, draining, tiring, and it didn't give me anything as a person. And look, what I'm telling you, I think it applies to anyone, not just for Alex and for me who are here on a camera. I think that all of you at some point, or maybe you're going through it right now, have felt at your job that you're not happy, that you have to go to work just to collect your paycheck at the end of the week or the end of the pay period, right? So sometimes there's no other option. I mean, Alex and I have an option to not touch that topic again, to leave it, or even to turn off the camera and not broadcast again. In the case of those of you who might feel unsatisfied with your job, there is no option. There aren't many options because it's very easy to say change jobs, but we all know what the situation is like, and sometimes you can't just change jobs. But I would sincerely tell you, with all of my good and genuine intentions, to then thoughtfully look for ways to connect with yourselves outside of work, with your family members, with what you already have, with your home, with the people who truly love you, with your close friends. Well, if you're single, if you don't have family, with your friends. So on the weekend when you're not working, change your clothes, get ready, and go dancing, or go for a walk, or go out and about, or go meet people, go to a park, or go to church. Connect with yourself so that you're charged with good energy to go back on Monday to that routine that doesn't satisfy you, completely. And if you have a family, well, then connect with your family, put your feet firmly on the ground, and focus on what's worthwhile, right? With your home, with your wife, with your kids, with your mom, with your dad, with your pets, so that from there you can get the strength to be able to face that other part that you don't like, the part that doesn't make you happy. And that's what I did these past few weeks, Alex. I did that. I tried to connect with myself, with what I have, from my pets to my dad, my sisters, the few friends I have left, because I must tell you that I abandoned them because I was dedicating time to YouTube. And life doesn't stop, Alex. Life goes on. Life goes on. And that year that I was dedicating 100% to YouTube, life went on its course on the outside, right? So now I'm the one who has to run a little harder to catch up with what I let slip away. But it's okay. I can do it perfectly well, and I'm going to do it little by little. And maybe I won't get back the friends I had at the beginning, but I can make new ones. And that's what's important, to reconnect with myself and for you to do it too, especially those of you who don't feel satisfied and happy with the work aspect. Yes, 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 yes. I agree.
with you. It's easy to say change jobs or look for something new if there's no other option. Well, what I would say is try to harmonize with what you have. That is, try in some way to be happy, live in the moment at your job. It has worked for me to break down life into days, hours, minutes, seconds. I mean, this sounds a little curious, strange, but I have this day and I'm worrying about next week, next month, next year, 10 years, 100 years. We sometimes start to, thank you. I want to see, hey, where am I going to end up? And when am I going to grow up? And when are I going to get a promotion? And when are they going to give me a raise? Living in the present, in the moment, I feel that in this way one can live a little more peacefully because sometimes happiness is related to inner peace. I feel that happiness is a word that takes on different nuances. And for example, what is happiness? Well, a party like that, everyone with beers in hand. Yes, yes, it is also a type of happiness. But for me, one that provides enormous strength is inner peace. And that's another thing I saw you do on this show. I mean, you and I had talked privately a little while you were gone, but when I saw you, Angelito, you didn't have to say a single word. I saw that immediately. I saw a renewed inner peace, a renewed tranquility. And I'm sorry for those who are listening. I mean, you follow my channel or have seen some of my programs. It's something I talk about very often, the strength we have inside, a being we have inside that is there patiently waiting to be discovered. And that in the end, what's out there is beautiful, it's great. Friendships, family. I always say family becomes friends, friends become family. All of that is important, but also putting our burden on them is where sometimes, wow, we get into trouble. Eventually, we are putting ourselves, I don't want to say it because it's ugly, but we are putting our peace, our happiness in the hands of others, aren't we? So, it's very confusing to explain because then what do I have to be a hermit and live in a cabin? No, you have to have that strength that I now see in you, that inner peace, and say, I'm going to enjoy my friends. I'm going to make new friends, like you said. And not all of us on YouTube are bad, Angelito. Well, I don't know if I'm good or bad, but not all of us are like the ones you talked about on Friday. And I know that you've been figuring out who's genuine and who's not. Uh, and in a way, understand that you can have a life full of people. How many people say, "Oh, I have 5,000 people on Instagram and whatnot," and but if in the end you're putting the weight of your happiness on them, well, eventually they're going to disappoint you. Remember, I was saying we should call this episode. I might change the name, but the idea was eventually you're going to disappoint people, and people are going to disappoint you, and that could have a negative connotation. No, it's don't put the weight on them. Don't put the weight on the outside world, not even on your family. I told you about a relative I had with depression who the family was to blame for everything because that's how depression sometimes works. I mean, when you really, really, when you don't have the strength to say, and it's that they didn't do this for me, they didn't do that, they didn't call me on my birthday, they didn't, and in the end, what if you focus on being happy yourself, on making yourself happy, and that way you take a little bit of the weight of the family. It's not that we're good or bad, we all make mistakes, Angelito, we're all full of flaws. Really, anyone who says they're perfect, well, I respect that, but I don't really buy it because I feel we're all full of stuff. And the truth is that if someone puts their happiness on me, they're putting a weight on me, a lead weight.
that you didn't that you didn't ask for. Besides, you don't ask for it.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
It's on us. I've already reached that conclusion, Alex. It's my fault. It's that simple. It's my fault. No one no one is to blame for me offering my affection or my friendship or my or I don't know how to say it, and that sometimes without them even having asked for it, or my help or my support. My mom used to have a saying, when you do things, do them because you want to, and don't even expect a thank you.
Mhm.
And it's true, but we forget because, as you've said, Alex, we're not perfect, and I'm not perfect. So, of course, sometimes I do things, and it feels really nice when they thank you, when they say thank you, or when someone tells you, I'm so grateful to Angel because he did this and that. It feels awesome. But you have to understand, and there are people who do that, Alex. There are, of course, there are. Yes, yes, there are people, fortunately, right? But there are a lot of people who don't, that for them, it doesn't matter how much you do, it will never be important. And it's not their fault. Really, many of them don't ask you to help them. They don't ask you to love them. They don't ask you to give them your affection or your support, your help. It's each of our responsibility. There's another phrase my mom also used to say, it's a sign of good character to be grateful. But not everyone knows that word or its meaning, right? Or for each person, it has a different meaning. So what I'm learning, because you're always learning, Alex, always. And life is like that too, not just on YouTube. Life is like that. In life, you also run into, and I'm sure that all of you watching us right now, at some point have felt that disappointment from your best friend, your family, your cousin, your brother, that you helped them, you gave to them, and that at some point you felt they didn't appreciate it, right? And that doesn't make them bad people, and it doesn't make us good people either. It's simply that each person must take their own responsibility, Alex. If you help me, it's because you genuinely want to, but please don't expect anything in return, and I don't have to feel obligated to act toward you in exactly the same way that you have acted toward me.
I completely agree.
One would hope so because of the phrases I just told you, right? It's a sign of good character to be grateful, but you had an upbringing that came from your parents, and I have a different one. So maybe for you, your mom raised you with affection and all that, but she also instilled in you to help someone who crosses your path or to support them. There are people who will go without bread to give it to someone else. So that comes from each person's upbringing. And there are others who they don't feel it and they won't do it. And that doesn't make them a bad person. It's just the way they are. That's their upbringing. That's what works for them. And that's what has worked for them their whole lives, right? So we have to take on the responsibilities that correspond to each of us. And that's what I've done these past few weeks. Take my own responsibilities and say, well, I did it because I wanted to. Nobody asked me to. I gave my affection to some people because I wanted to. I didn't have to do it, but I did. So, well, now take responsibility, Angel. Take responsibility in this way, right? By not doing it anymore, but also not holding a grudge, just by understanding that those people are not interested. It's that simple. With no hard feelings, Alex, they're just not interested. And that's okay because there are people like you who have been interested in the affection I offered you from day one, Alex. And not only that, but you always thank me for it in private and in public, right? You're always saying, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for sending me this guest. Thank you for this, for that, for the other thing. So that's what I want to focus on, Alex, on the fact that there are people who do it. And and also keeping in mind that you don't have to do it, Alex. Because if I have wanted to help, whether with little or much, it is because I wanted to. You didn't ask me to. You didn't ask me to contact you by email that first time, did you? You didn't ask me to. It was something I wanted to do. So from now on, I'm going to value people that they return that gratitude and affection to me. And those who don't, believe me, I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to say, it's okay, it's fine.
That's how it is. And the truth is that it doesn't surprise me because I tell you, that's what I saw, this maturity that is so difficult, Angelito, to achieve because we are human. There are many things here that are interpreted, as you say, incongruously because we have to be grateful, but not from expecting gratitude. So you either have to be one or you don't. Of course, you have to be. And of course, things have to be done just for the sake of doing them. Because if someone crosses your path and you can help them, that's absolutely perfect. You can't help it, it's also absolutely perfect. Because believe me, the universe sees what your possibilities are and what they are not. But there are many times when people you can help come to you and you justify yourself, for example, saying something like, he hasn't helped me, or nobody helps me, or I'm always helping everyone. And so we begin. These are things that are born from the ego. This system is symbiotic where I give and I have to receive by force. No, there are people who give their whole lives, Angelico. It gives all of life. And the truth is, no, he got very little back. But believe me, that's perfect. We've been sold the idea that that equation has to match. And to say it is, well, why are you helping if nobody gives to you? Because I want to help and because I have the ability to help. Because both things have to be there.
Clear.
Intention and your possibilities. To
You want it but don't have it.
possibility. No, sometimes you have no way. I mean, as you say, you take your bread away and give it to someone else. That's why you once mentioned an episode that never saw the light of day because YouTube didn't block it. She was bitter. It was one of the Ouija boards. You remember it didn't work. you mentioned that you gave money to a taxi driver. I don't know if you saw a taxi driver give money, or if you gave money to someone on the street or something like that when you were not in a good position to help financially. And I told you that act, Angelito, selfless of, it's like when, and I gave the example, you see those taxi drivers who give 5 pesos, 10 pesos to the lady who is there on the street or who is cleaning the windshield. They who are there all day in the car, in the heat and everything, and who knows how much they are earning, that another person could give them 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, because their possibilities are different, and they say, no, no, well, I'm not here to help. Well, as you say, it's okay, right? That's totally fine. I was just leaving.
Jim, Alex, yes, from that story. And it was very hot in the block, and there was someone from the street in the block, and they were in a trash can, in a drum. And I saw him grab a bottle of water. You know how it is. Sometimes you waste water with just a little bit, right? And that's how I was squeezing Alex out of the water. So I saw it and checked it out. I always used to bring my gym bag, but since I live near the gym, I never really carry any money around, right? So I started checking my backpack, and I had a 50 peso bill. So when I got to him, he was still rummaging through the trash can. I give him the 50 peso bill, and I say, "So you can buy yourself a water." And so he takes the bill, and he turned and looked at me, and his eyes filled with tears, Alex. And he said, "Thank you." But he said it with a wow, like it's a lot. I mean, that wasn't it wasn't 50 pesos to him. To him it was like 500. And I felt this, like when you get goosebumps. And I turned around because I thought, "No, I'm going to start crying here with this man, you know?" And I started walking away, but because of his reaction, Alex, because of his face, his eyes, because of and I remember I told my psychologist about it, and she said, "The thing is, Angel, who says that there's an amount, a number for you to change his day? You're not changing that man's life."
But you did change his day.
And that's the beautiful part, she tells me, because sometimes on another occasion I also saw someone who was the lying on the ground, because I live in a central area in Tijuana, and obviously you go out here and everywhere you see people lying down on the ground, you know. And I had some groceries, and well, I had a package of Maria's cookies. So I took out the package of Maria's cookies, and I thought, I can just buy this again. And I gave it to a person, and I kept walking. And before turning the corner, I looked back to see what the this man had done, and he was already eating them with such desperation, Alex, that I thought, geez, who knows how long it's been since he'd eaten, you know? So my psychologist told me that day, well, those Maria's cookies changed that man's morning, and that 50 pesos that you didn't need also changed this other man's day, right? So it's not about the amounts, Alex, it's the action. And if we all did it, and I know a lot of people do, right? I take out a plate of food, or sometimes a when it's cold, look, this sweater, I did it now with the cold. Look, I have this sweater, it has a little hole here, but no, it doesn't matter. And they would put it on right then and there, Alex, because they were freezing to death, you know? Or some shoes that I didn't use anymore because they had a little hole. But I saw a person who was walking barefoot, Alex, in the street in the cold. Barefoot, no socks, nothing. He wasn't wearing any shoes. I told him, hold on. I said, some people have even lost their minds, Alex. Some of them just don't get it. But this guy understood, you know? I said, wait for me, okay? I'm gonna go get some shoes, see if they fit. They fit. Well, his foot didn't go all the way in, Alex, but he told me it doesn't matter. I'll take them just like this. Because of course, for him, it was better to have his heel sticking out, but have the rest of his foot on the shoe. I was going to throw those shoes away anyway, than to be walking around barefoot, right, Alex? So I think that if we all can, we should all do it. It doesn't matter how much, Alex. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the quality of what we're giving. What matters is the gesture, you know? Sometimes maybe you have some leftovers at home from yesterday, and you see someone passing by outside who hasn't eaten, who's begging, "Hey, I don't have any money, but I have a plate of food from yesterday." I guarantee you, you've made that person's day.
Yeah, Angelito, I totally agree. And I'd even go further and say that sometimes it's not even a material thing, but sometimes it's a moment of kindness. I mean, I'm remembering a story right now that I've told you about my friend Tony, who's on the English channel a lot. He lives in London, and well, as you can imagine, in London there are also a lot of people on the streets and everything. And one time he ran into someone near his apartment, and this person was crying inconsolably. And he says, I don't know what came over me. I just had to ask him, yo, hey, I'm listening. And so he did. The person told him his whole situation. You know, how he ended up on the street. I haven't seen my family in years. He talked for about half an hour. And in the end, Tony, Tony lives on a government pension because he has a condition. And well, you can imagine. I mean, he has very little to give financially. I think he gave him something anyway, but it was the person said it's incredible that a total stranger would sit here and listen to me for half an hour. I'm eternally grateful. You have no idea. And I felt that, of course, because and that's the part that one day we'll all understand that we're all brothers, all of us, not just humans, but in other all the places in the universe. And and somehow we come here and we're like little lights that are just looking to illuminate one another, you know? These situations with the fights and the arguments and what's happening a lot on YouTube right now from what I see on many channels. The gossip and making videos about other people and all that. I feel like it comes from another place. It can't come from that place. It comes from a place of, yes, there has to be a certain malice. And and sometimes I feel there's an annoyance and anger because the person you're I'm not justifying it because it's not justifiable. But the person you're making the video about, you feel like they betrayed you or did something to you, and that's your way of showing your claws and fighting back, you know? It's I only mention that because what you're saying and what your mom said is so strong and so powerful, Angelito. It would change the world, seriously, if we understood that it's not about giving to receive or the boomerang effect and all that. It's about giving, 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 and don't worry about whether they'll thank you or not. It's beautiful when they thank you. It feels really great. The truth is, it's incredible, so incredible. But it's much more beautiful to understand that we only came here to give, and to give, and to give. And that's our mission. Imagine if everyone dedicated themselves to giving and not taking, not denigrating, and not offending. What a slightly different world this would be.
Well, Alex, I feel that YouTube is a reflection of what we're also experiencing in today's society. There's less and less empathy, less and less of people helping each other. You walk down the street, people don't greet you anymore. Nobody, not anymore. I mean, you run into people and they don't say good morning, good afternoon. It is sad. It's sad, really. Something just happened here in my city, Alex, and I'm not very well informed because honestly, I'm someone who doesn't watch the news because I'm an anxious person. And I swear to you that sometimes I used to watch the news and then I couldn't sleep, Alex. I'd go to bed and I couldn't fall asleep. But something very horrible, very shameful just happened. I'm not sure how, but a Polish man, I think, came here to one of the neighborhoods in my city without being able. Obviously, he had no way of, not even English. I mean, he was speaking his own language, which we obviously didn't understand. He showed up at a sort of street market and wanted to, well, ask for help. I don't know the exact story. Surely someone in the audience knows much more than I do because, like I said, I don't really like to get too informed. The thing is, he approached a woman who had a child, and this woman, paranoid, started screaming. People started hitting him, Alex, and someone stabbed him, and he lost his life. Later, through the investigation, it was discovered that he was, I don't know if he was from Romania, Polish, something like that, right? And so, well, they've already caught the perpetrator. But I feel that in this, it wasn't just one person, Alex, it was many people, right? From the lady who started screaming without knowing if he really wanted to take the child from her arms to the others, right? Who started hitting him. Because first, there are even videos, which obviously I don't want to see, where they're beating him, and nobody does anything, Alex. But oh yes, everyone took out their cell phones and started recording. And this reminds me of another thing that just happened, I think, in Brazil, where a trans girl, I don't know if you heard, was also caught by some people from a certain religion. I don't remember. They broke her arms and her legs and threw her into some water, like a sewer drain, and they started recording it. So this girl, there's a video that I opened it by mistake. And you see her in the river trying to get out with her broken arms that she couldn't move, and how her last minutes of life were just horrible pain, Alex, awful, indescribable. And the people who did it were recording her to then spread the video. So these are things, Alex, that make you say, how is it possible that as thinking people we do this, Alex? That we can do this? How far has evil truly overtaken us? The not caring, the deep and profound lack of respect for life. It's hard for me to understand, Alex. I swear. No.
Well, it's just that I feel, Angelito, that all of us, that's why a few minutes ago we both mentioned that we're full of flaws. Yes, I feel that we're not very different from one another. We all have, I feel, a little angel and a demon inside of us. And sometimes we're mostly acting well, on the side of the little angel, on the side of our spirit, and so on. But that demon sometimes gets exasperated, and a lot of times it's the mind and beliefs and thoughts. And in this case, I didn't know about the trans girl case. Just like you, I hardly watch the news. Yesterday, for example, I started watching because did you know there was an earthquake here in Monterrey? It's so weird, and you could feel it. So it was like, what happened, right? Because on top of that, it sounded like an explosion, and I thought, I hope a meteorite didn't fall or something. So then I started to.
That's right, aliens.
No, it's rare here in Monterrey. The earthquake was almost a 5.0, and what's it called? I feel that in their hatred, in their judgment of what a trans girl means, that there's no empathy, no understanding that it's not our place to judge. I mean, it's not that we have to accept her. She is a being who thinks she's a man, who thinks she's a woman. That's perfectly fine. It's her business. It's a matter for her and her partner, that's it. It's not up to the rest of us to even express an opinion.
If to you she's a man dressed as a woman, well, fine, but respect him as a man. If to you she's a woman trapped in a man's body, fine.
Respect her as a human being, Angelito, as a being, as a human being. I mean, so, but in that judgment, and look, in this case, it was a trans girl. It could have been a Muslim, Christians against a Muslim, Muslims against Catholics or Christians. It could have been many situations just because someone is different and they fall victim. And I feel that also happens a lot in all these conflicts we mentioned, the sense of superiority. Many times when I watch, especially these YouTube feuds, I see someone who feels so superior to the person they're denigrating. Because I feel that insults, Angelito, are like something you have, like an Amazon package. I mean, you have to deliver it. If you go around distributing them and you send me 100 packages, but I don't accept them, you're not offending me. You think you're offending me, but the reality is you're not. Now, that doesn't make it right. I'm not saying that justifies it. What I'm saying is that there are people who, in their sense of superiority, think they can offend you when really they're just acting crazy, right? But I feel that sometimes there's that sense of superiority. What is this? What is this being trans? What is it? I mean, we men, women, I don't know, I imagine men have been we are superior. We are yes, we are thinking beings. We are things like that, right? So I do understand your point of view, Angelito, that the world is complicated right now, really complicated. I I really do believe deep down that we all have enormous empathy inside, a huge heart, a tremendous capacity for kindness and understanding, even when things seem difficult. That's there to be discovered, right? Even the most violent, volatile, most offensive, vile person, I mean, whatever you can say, I feel that deep inside. If they stop thinking so much and let go of their beliefs and a little bit of their mind going like a mouse on a wheel, right? Like that, if they calm down a bit, that's when this empathy starts to open up, right? Uh, and well, definitely everyone can do what they want, but advice is, well, it's never okay to talk about someone else in a negative way. Never. There's no justification. Oh, it's because they make horrible videos. Well, say that. They make horrible videos. Okay, that's my opinion. In the end, I'm not the arbiter of truth, but to start saying it's because they're this and they're that, and it's with what right do we feel we can do those kinds of things? For me, as I've told you in private, it's beyond me. I mean, it's how can anyone think that? I mean,
It's a lot of cowardice too, Alex, because for example, the people who appear in the comments, well, they hide behind a mask because they're people who will never show their true face. You don't know if it's a man, a woman. They can grab a picture of a flower, yeah, a cactus, a cat, a dog, and they start to bring out the worst in themselves, right? In those comments. But I think that what these people are doing is they're throwing something out into the universe that's going to come back to them, Alex, at some point, right? To be just by writing it, by thinking it, by wishing it, right? And those comments sometimes like you should have died instead of him or things like that. Well, those are things you're throwing out into the universe, and at some point it's going to come back. Really, for me, for example, if I'm not interested in seeing something, I don't even go and watch it, much less am I going to get into writing something negative, right? No, what a waste of my time. I'm not interested. I don't watch it, and that's it. I skip it. Period. That's it. Because for me, it's a waste of time, right? On other occasions, I say maybe I don't have something super positive to comment, so I don't comment anything, and that's it. Why would I go in and leave something that destroys, right? When it's so much nicer to build. But oh well.
And you just said something very important, Angelito. It's okay not to have something positive, but what a beautiful position to take to say, if I don't have anything good to say, then I won't say anything. I mean, because the truth is, I'm not contributing. So, I mean, and so if I do have something positive to say, then I'll share my opinion. And I feel it's the same with relationships. Hey, it's someone who honestly doesn't look for you when you need them. It's someone who doesn't appreciate everything you do for this person. It's someone that somehow you're already discovering. I mean, it's so painful to discover, Angelito, because it's happened to me that you love someone more than what that person loves you in return, right? But you know what's totally permissible and correct? You go your way and I'll go mine. And it's like this, a Y shape, right? I mean, and that's it. Like you say, there's no anger, no annoyance, there's no ill will. I hope you do very well, but far away from me. I mean, because the reality of the situation is it's not about forcing things either, and that I've used examples on my channel a couple of times when you have these toxic relationships or things like that. It's just that they're going to change. They already promised me. It's just that, and maybe if you just leave them and go your own way, because a guest on your channel once said it, if they love you, they don't screw you over, and if they screw you over, it's because they don't love you. I don't remember who it was. That guy from Pinche Blog.
The pinche block. Yes, Damien.
Damien. Very, very wise. If they screw you over, they don't love you. If they love you, they don't screw you over.
And you know what? You know what, Alex? Taking responsibility, because I'm sure that everyone watching us has lived through it. They must feel they can relate. It doesn't matter if they're not on YouTube, but surely with your best friend, with your neighbor, with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, at some point they've lived it and have felt used. I gave too much to this person. They didn't value it. They never valued me. They used me. They threw me away. They used me. They left me. They used me as a stepping stone to climb up. You know what? The way I would tell you to make it feel less crappy is to take responsibility. You are responsible. I am responsible for who we give our affection to, our time, our support, our help. If the moment came when you realized that person didn't deserve it from you, feel satisfied, but keep in mind that it was your decision. To support, to love, to be there unconditionally, to put up with things many times, to forgive, that was your decision. Take responsibility and you'll feel better. It has worked for me, Alex. I say, okay, it was my fault. Nobody asked me to. Nobody asked me to. And it has worked with partners too, you know? Nobody asked me to be an idiot, laying myself down like a doormat for them to step on me and dance the Jarabe Tapatio on top of me. It was my fault. Sometimes they'd even tell me, oh, you still love him. That's why you forgive him. No, no, no. It's not that I still love him. It's just the reality of it. It's useless for me to play the martyr, the victim, and say that the other person is the villain of the story when I did it because I wanted to. I loved because I wanted to. And many times we know, Alex, or we have that suspicion that the other person isn't who we think they are, and yet there we go. So you have to take responsibility, and I also promise you that we'll feel less worser, as they commonly say. We're going to feel less bad, keeping in mind that we did it because we wanted to, and we have to hold on to that.
Yes, Angelito. I totally agree that you have to take responsibility for your life. I mean, in the end, our life is a product of ourselves, isn't it? So, like you said, if people come along, if we accept them, if we forgive them, which is valid, I want to clarify. I mean, it's valid to give second chances, not just say bye at the first mistake. I mean, it's when something inside you is already telling you. And sometimes it tells you from the very first time, and sometimes it tells you on the 10th.
And it's okay to give second chances, Alex,
Yes, it's okay, but also
but you just take your precautions. You say, okay, if before I gave 100%, now I'm going to be a little more careful, right? Now I'm going to give 50%. Let's see, I'm going to test the waters. And if I see everything is flowing well, okay, I'll start giving more, right? I'll go up to 55, 60 because I wasn't always this skittish.
exactly. Yes, no, 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 that's what I'm getting at because sometimes it's misinterpreted that forgiving is forgetting, and in a way it should be like that. But also, if there's no change and in the end you're the one who's always forgiving and forgiving and forgiving and forgiving, I think we have such a powerful and beautiful intuition inside us that it really gives us, it tells us all the time, yes, no, this one, yes, this one, no. And so, and it can get to the point, Angelito, where there are moments in life when you're very lonely because there's no one, and then the universe fills you with people and you say, thank you. I mean, because somehow, like you say, it's not that we're good or bad. Is that seriously, I feel that we're all very much around there, very, very similar. But obviously, we all want to be on the side of the good guys. We've been taught, we've been programmed that, well, I'm good. I try to be good. I don't want this to sound like bad or good people come into your life, but simply that people arrive, I would call them more compatible or people with whom there's a symbiosis of, as you say, gratitude without asking for it.
And it's that just as we feel that they fail us, surely we have failed other people. Just as we feel that there are people who aren't nice to us, surely we aren't nice enough to other people. And I want to mention someone who I hope, I would love for you to invite her someday, Alex, which is Miss Carol. I think you already know her. You've seen her on your channel.
Yes.
Ah, she's someone I highly recommend. Her channel is called Hablando Claro con Miss Caro. She's a woman who has been fighting an illness for 5 years, a very well known one, a fatal illness, which I won't mention so as not to get demonetized, but you know which one, right? You know which one. The one that starts with the letter C.
Mm.
And and right now she's in a stage of a hard, tough fight, always with the best attitude. In fact, the time I had her on my show, she talked about this. Alex, I don't know if you remember. She was talking about this, right? About what her struggle has been like. But just look at how life is. Honestly, when I was feeling down, I didn't remember to write to her. However, she, who is going through something 50 times worse than what I was, she wrote to me to say, "How are you? How are you feeling? I heard you're depressed, that you're anxious. I want to tell you that I'm here for you, that I love you a lot." Imagine how I felt. I mean, I said, "That's when I understood, Alex. Well, I'm not so perfect as I might think, right?" So nice, such a good friend because I didn't remember her. And she, who is having a worse time than me, remembered me and made a point to write and tell me, "I'm here, Alex." So that's a very big lesson for me. And surely, just as I felt disappointed by some people, many others must have felt disappointed by me and must think that I'm not such a good friend or such a good person and that I wasn't what they expected, right?
Yes, Angelito. It's just that all those uh, omissions, I think they're totally understandable in your case, and they totally happen to all of us, you know? We can forget a birthday of someone close to us. We might have something on our minds, and sometimes, right now, I didn't have Mother's Day in mind. I mean, my sister calls me on Thursday and says, "Hey, it's May 8th." And I'm like, "Oh man, that's right." So, it can happen, right? It can happen. And what's it called? I feel, and I was telling you that if someone, and I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but if someone were to talk about my family on YouTube and all that, I was telling you this because of a situation that happened to you recently, my wife, etc. I don't know how I would react, Angelito. I'm a I I advocate for nonviolence. I propose. I say that I've already rejected violence. But if someone messes with me in that way, that's when you let your rage, you let your anger, you let it dominate you, and then you act in ways that I assure you you'll end up regretting. But you have to understand that too, right? And I right now that I've been talking a lot, I've been doing many episodes about control and peace, and that not reacting is the best solution for these types of conflicts. I mean, taking a second, breathing, and I've said if someone comes and cuts off my finger, a demon is going to come out, the monster is going to come out, right? And I'm going to hit them back, or I don't know. I mean, no matter how much I say nonviolence and all that. So I feel that many times, Angelito, I'm not justifying it, but with these types of reactions, we strike a nerve. And as you said, something very important you mentioned, the same thing that happens to us, we can even be doing it to others without meaning to. For example, that they expect a lot from us, that they've grown fond of us, that they expect you to always be talking to them or expect you to react a certain way in a conflict, and you fail them in that way,
Or always supporting them.
or always supporting them, or going to defend them, or things that, I mean, they had an expectation. That's why I wanted to call it that. We are going to disappoint people, and people are going to disappoint us because it's a two-way street. Because there are times when you say, "What did I do?" Well, the thing is that the other person had this expectation of you.
You weren't there. It could be it just happened to me, right? You weren't there. Well, I wasn't there because I was feeling sick. I wasn't even there for myself. It doesn't matter. You weren't there. You stopped being there. You stopped supporting me. You stopped giving me what you used to give me.
That's right.
So I failed that person. I failed them. Why? Because, well, I didn't feel well enough to be with anyone. There will be people like you who understood and respected it and said, I'm going to leave you alone for a few days, right? Because you need to be alone with yourself. But there will be others who say, you disappeared on me and you failed me because you stopped being there. Yes, it's complicated.
It's very complicated. And my suggestion here would be let's leave the outside world behind and focus on what's inside here, right? So if we all strengthen ourselves in here and it's a daily job, it's continuous work, I feel that we'll start to be more understanding. When someone else, you can say, well, maybe they're having a bad day or a bad moment, and maybe not everything is about me, man. Hey, why didn't you talk to me or whatever? Wait, what if instead you ask, how are you? I mean, forget about me so much and instead tell me, because maybe you're the one having a hard time and I have no idea, right? So human relationships are very complicated, right? But it seems to me that the key to the equation or the key to the game is not to place so much importance on receiving and to give a lot of importance to giving. And if we genuinely, seriously give without any expectation, right? Hey, someone comes along and you have them here on your channel and you send people their way and everything, and that person might not even talk about you again, or you never see them again, or they block you, etc. Well, that's how it was. I did it from the heart, as they say. I did it with the best of intentions. You don't want to have a relationship with me anymore, you didn't like it, you didn't get the views or whatever. Well, those are other issues. I mean, because we can't fix people's lives either, right?
No, because sometimes not even our own is fixed, Alex.
Of course, no. And it's not about, the truth is that seriously, as hard as it may sound, it's not about that. I feel it's about giving little pushes. I mean, like a snowball. Have you ever seen a snowball start? Have you ever seen a snowball start? It's like giving a little push. There you go. But you have to keep rolling. I mean, you have to keep on your path. I can't be pushing you all the time. And when you run out of steam, you can't just say, hey, come on, push. No, it's not about that.
It's like when you live in an apartment building. It should be like that, right? Like they used to show in those old movies, you know? The neighbor comes over. Hey, neighbor, do you have a cup of sugar? Yes, I do. I just bought some. Of course, I can spare half a cup for you. Here you go. And then maybe tomorrow, Alex, you need something from the neighbor downstairs. Hey, neighbor, yeah, do you happen to have any tortillas? Oh, yes, of course. I have some left over from yesterday. And then that neighbor might need a little coffee from another one, and so on. I don't feel superior just because I gave her the sugar. I shouldn't feel better than that neighbor because later I needed coffee that another neighbor gave me. And that neighbor shouldn't feel superior to me because then he needed perhaps some salt that he got from the apartment next door, right? So, exactly. When we learn to see it that way, Alex, uh, yes, I have this because we start from the idea that if you don't have it, you can't give it. So, yes, I have this. I can provide it to you. I can give you my time right now. I can give you advice. I can lend you those 100 pesos you need because I have them on me. I can lend you that pair of shoes, the record, the CD. Why? Because I'm sure that tomorrow I'm going to need something from someone. And just as that someone is helping me with this little thing, well, I can do it too. And it's no big deal. And a really great symbiosis is created, Alex. That's how it should be. Without waiting, without expectations, without demanding too much, because that's where we mess up. Let's look at animals, how they get along. They don't have problems, Alex, and they can coexist among different races without problems. We, the ones who are supposedly the thinkers, the ones who have and know how to use our brains, well, we should learn a little from them to find that stability and that balance that animals have, right? Coexisting with each other without any hassle, without problems of race, color, fur in their case, weight, of anything, right? I wish we could be a little more like they are.
Totally agree. You want to see what symbiosis is? It's nature. It operates symbiotically. And some people say, well, why do they eat each other? It's not out of malice.
No, there's no such malice.
It's a simple cycle. And a lot of the time, if you notice, they eat things that are already dead, or something dead feeds the earth, like a kind of fertilizer, something like that. Using your own example, the beautiful thing about it is this. One person comes and asks for the cup of sugar, then another person goes, not to the same one, but to someone else, and asks for milk or a tortilla. and another goes and asks someone else for coffee, and even the person with the coffee, we come back to the point. If we take the position of, well, I haven't asked anyone for anything, so why are you coming to ask me? That's where we mess it all up. Because the point is, let me give you coffee because I have coffee to give. What if I don't have any? Then I'll say, sorry, I don't have any.
But I want to tell you, one of my neighbors, I don't have many neighbors here, we're just a few, but one I get along with very well. Uh, I didn't know it was her birthday, and she came down on her own with a plate of the food she'd made for herself and her husband because they were just celebrating, just the two of them. So she knocks on my door and says, Angel. And I'm like, what's up? And I open the door and see she's brought this amazing, delicious mole with chicken rice tortillas and an atole she made. And she says, I'm bringing you this because it's my birthday and I brought you some of what I made. And I said, oh, how sweet of you. Thank you so much. And well, that was that, right? Then on February 14th, I said to myself, well, I'm single, but I'm going to treat myself. I thought, who says that just because I don't have someone to give a gift to, I can't celebrate, right? So I went to a place that just opened nearby where they sell these, delicious artisanal cheeses. And I bought a couple of these very expensive, tiny little boxes, with cheese and fruit, all nicely arranged. And I bought one for myself and one for her. So I got home, I called out to her neighbor, and she came out. I said, Happy Valentine's Day. And well, the neighbor was almost in tears. She said, My husband didn't even get me anything, neighbor. And I thought to myself, that's the beautiful part, isn't it? That's what's so great. One day she surprised me with a plate of food, Alex, and maybe to her it wasn't a big deal, but to me it meant so much. And on that day, I surprised her with that little gift. And obviously, I'm not her partner or anything, but I gave it to her that day. So I just wish we could all do more of this. And if people don't do it for you, well, you do it for them and just be satisfied with having done it.
That's right.
And as my mom once told me, don't even expect them to thank you. And that's what I've learned, and I'm still learning. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't hurt, Alex. It does. But those hard knocks, they hurt, but they help you grow and they make you a better person. And the only thing I've been looking for all this time is to be at peace, to be calm. And this that I've been experiencing, and that I'm sure you who are watching have also experienced in your own situations, it helps us, in the end, to ultimately find and achieve the peace of mind that allows us to say, with genuine acceptance and calm, it's okay, it's no problem. Because I ran into this person, this individual, who didn't even thank me. Not that I was really expecting it or waiting for it, but on the other hand, I also met this person who is very lovely and who has given me back so much more than the little I've given. So that's the cool part, and that's what should count in the end. Good actions much more than the bad ones.
Yes, and you know perfectly well the intentions of your heart. And so everything you did for these people, well, you know perfectly well that it was with good intentions, that they might everything can be twisted in this life. I mean, the famous opinion or the other data, as the president would say. Everything in this life can be argued, no, that's not true, it was like this, it was like that, even outright lies. But what's the need to go and question something when you know in your heart that you opened yourself up, right?
And that's what you have to hold on to, Alex. That's what you're left with in the end. In the end, you say, well, I know what I did, how I did it, and above all, with what intention I did it. If it wasn't as valuable to you as it was to me, well, that's your problem. I'm left with,
Exactly.
it's not, and I've learned this in therapy too. It's not your fault. It's not your problem. You did this, and that's what you have to hold on to. If the other person didn't see it, didn't accept it, didn't value it, it's not your problem.
You have no control.
Exactly.
You have no control.
It doesn't have to create any kind of feeling in you, Alex,
That's right.
because you should be sure of what you did and happy with what you did and satisfied with what you did. If the other people don't feel good about it, it's their problem.
That's right. And you're not there to solve it for them. I mean, it's something that shouldn't weigh on you either, much less
No, it's out of your hands.
because it's already out of your hands. You can be at peace with your intentions and say, okay, well, I tried with this person, it didn't work out. Too, I've told you in private about someone from YouTube where I went through something similar where, well, I tried to help. And well, in the end, it was, let's each go our separate ways because in the end, I can't offer you anything anymore, because there are also times when when it's okay to take yourself out of the equation, when you say, hey, if I'm a friend who you don't, I mean, who you say I'm not, who you say does nothing right, who you say is always messing things up, well, what's the need for us to keep having a friendship? That's right. What's the need? I mean, help me help you, not by bothering you, right?
We each go our own way.
We each go our own way.
The 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 beautiful thing about friendship, Alex, is that you have and about relationships in general, you have the right and the obligation to have who you want in your life. Fortunately, these days there's we don't have to complicate things. Everyone, there's the block button on social media, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on all social networks. There's the block button, and that block button also means blocking them from your life. No hard feelings, no nothing, no bad vibes. You go your way, I'll go mine. Zero contact. I've blocked you from my life too. It's that easy, and it's no big deal.
You know, I've talked about this before. I don't think I told you, but a person, an ex-friend of mine, we're not friends anymore, who let me down, and it really affected me a lot financially and everything. You know what, Angelito? I was when I called him one day on the phone and told him, "Look, I need you to pay me something now," and so on. The situation got very bad. I'm not gonna go into details, but there were threats, you know, over the phone. I hung up. I was in a really bad place for a whole afternoon, Angelito. Me too. Ideas were running through my head, like I'm going to do this. All sorts of ideas.
Of course,
I go to sleep and I wake up, Angelito. And you know what I said? I was like, this person is like a stranger on the street. I don't wish them well, or you have to understand, they're just a stranger. I wish them well, obviously, because I don't wish them any harm. But it's not like I'm going to call them on their birthday or whatever, or that I'm going to be keeping up with them on social media. No, no, no. It's a total, like you said, block on social media, block on everything. It's you live your life, I'll live mine. And some people did tell me, it's not fair, you should sue him, you should demand it. And I said, no, I was very clear, I'm not going to get anything more out of him, you know? So you go your way and I'll go mine.
it's letting go.
Always letting go. And yes, I do understand people who are angry because I was angry for a whole day, you know? And the truth is I had to sleep and find peace, I think, get into a peaceful state. And I woke up and it's almost as if you could see it leaving, you know? Because it was like I said, bye, and it was gone.
Because it's completely natural, Alex. I went through it, and I went through it with a partner. He stole from me, and while it's, I mean, I'm not going to say I felt it more than you, Alex, but I mean, it's different, but it's horrible, obviously, because it's someone you care about, who you open your home to, who sleeps with you, who you took care of when he was sick, and he stole a large amount of money from me. And I tried to file a report and everything, and no, the laws in our country, we know how they are. It's very difficult. I didn't achieve anything. The point is, the moment came, Alex, when I said, I'm letting it go. And many people would tell me, what? No, you didn't insist. You know why I didn't insist? Because I was hurting myself so much, Alex. Every time I had to give my statement again, present evidence, my blood would boil again. I'd feel bad again. I'd even get physically sick, Alex. Until I said, okay, it's a lot of money. Yes. Several years of savings. Yes. Did I deserve it? No. I mean, he was a bad person. Yes. But what can I do? I'm hurting myself. He's over there spending my money happily in another city because he left for another city with that money. So things also crossed my mind. There were people who also told me, hey, I can do this to him. I can do because what he did to you isn't fair and because I care about you. No, no, I don't want to carry that on my conscience. I don't want to unleash that and carry that with me until the day I leave this plane of existence, Alex, to say, I hurt this person over this amount of money, you know? So the best thing, Alex, even though it seems, and it's also the hardest thing to achieve, is to let go.
Well, Angelito, I think we've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes or so. I don't know if you have any final comments.
No, well, just to thank you, Alex. For me, it's always very satisfying, and I always like being here because I know, and don't think I don't. I come back later and read the comments, and they're always very kind to me. Your audience, I always see them saying they post things like "It's so great to see Angel" and things like that. Thank you so much. And well, to ask them to keep supporting you so you can keep growing. You have an audience you should be very proud of, Alex, because it's a very intelligent, very sensitive audience. They enjoy it, they come and learn, and I'm sure they always take something positive from from your videos. And I hope that today they take something positive from what I've shared about my experiences, because I'm sure many of you have lived through it, or are living through it, or will live through it. And the best way to resolve it and for you to feel less bad about it is to say, it was my responsibility. I did it because I wanted to. It's okay. We're going to keep being who we are, but being careful about who we give our affection, our heart, our support to, because don't think that everyone is like that. There will always be people who do deserve it and who do know how to respond uh, in the way we hope they will.
Yes, 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 yes. Very wise comments, Angelito. Very mature. I thank you for them because they are very important. And this is a topic, unlike UFOs and so on, that's a bit more for everyday life, you know. And I think we've all been through similar situations, if not identical ones. And I really like that you're leaving that impetus, that suggestion that we should keep trying, that we shouldn't close ourselves off and say, "Well, I don't want to have friends anymore."
Yes, no, I'm not going to change who I am, Alex. I'm not going to change. That's how I was raised. For me, it's normal. I'm not trying to come off as some kind of saint, even though I might look the part. No, 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 no. But if not, but yes, that's how I was raised. I mean, and you've seen it, Alex, because you followed my channel. There have been very important people, yourself included, who have trusted me and come on the show without knowing me. And really, to the audience, there have been people who tell me, how did you get that guest? I've been trying to invite him and he's told me no. So how could I not be that way, Alex, when so many people have been that way with me? They've given me their trust, their affection, their appreciation without knowing me. They've trusted me and they've come on the show, people that, well, maybe it would take me years to be able to invite. So for that very reason, I do it. Because like I said, not everyone is bad, not everyone, it's true, not everyone deserves our affection and our trust, but there are people who do deserve it and who know how to respond in the best way?
Yes, and you know what? I feel, Angelito, that sometimes it's up to each of us, right? I feel like we have a sort of alarm. And there are times with certain relationships that the alarm is going off from the very beginning. Well, maybe it's time to listen to it a bit more or see what's happening there. Because like I said, it's fine to give second chances, absolutely. But there should be some discernment, a situation where you say, okay, this person, when you feel the relationship isn't giving you anything anymore and it's not about the other person, but you yourselves feel like you don't even know how to treat the other person, and you say, hey, it's a good time to maybe say,
Yes, more than two chances isn't being good, it's being a fool.
that's right, that's right. Yes, I mean, because I think that many of those who listen to us have heard the famous soft hearted and all that. Yes, that's one thing, but being a punching bag is another. I mean, if you're just going to use me to take things out on, that's not fair.
No, 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 we don't deserve that, Alex. We don't deserve that. We really don't.
Well, thank you so much, Angelito. I think that maybe every couple of months or so you could stop by, because I was thinking just now when you mentioned it. Yes, I thank you so much. You were on for the anniversary in March with Maria, but before that, I think you were only on once. So maybe you can stop by. Now that you're going to be doing fewer shows, maybe every 2 months we can have a chat like this about everyday life and everything.
Of course, with pleasure. And right now, it would be awesome. And it just occurred to me, Alex, I don't know. Obviously, you're the one who decides, but it would be awesome if you asked your audience, what do you want us to talk about? So that maybe your own audience could tell you, hey, Alex, I'd like for you to talk about this because I've lived it. It's happened to me, and sometimes I don't know how to react, right? So it would be awesome to do.
Yes, please. You know what? In the comments, or hey, at llxshow.tv, that one always appears there in the bottom left corner. And send me an email, put it in the comments, however you like. I don't have the problem I had. I don't have the what's it called? The community or okay. Yes, the
Yes, community, yes, community, yes, yes, community, yes, yes. I don't know what happened. Your post in the community section.
but anyway, thank you so much, Angelito. Thank you so much. I really had a great time. Excellent chat. And well, welcome back, and we'll be watching on Friday. And thank you so much.
On the contrary, thank you very much. I hope you have a greetings to everyone. Wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks. See you later.
Bye.